I was in a joyful and loving relationship. So, what changed? No one begins with the intention of betraying their partner. Yet, sometimes, circumstances take us down paths we don't foresee. My job required me to travel frequently, resulting in extended periods apart from my boyfriend. Despite that, we would constantly stay in touch through Snapchat and texts, and I always felt excited to share every moment and conversation with him. We were seen as the most devoted couple, and our friends would often say, "Oh, I met someone unexpected at a party." During one work trip abroad, I chose to extend my stay for a brief vacation to catch up with some friends before heading home. It was during this time, at a party with them, that I encountered him. He initiated the conversation. "Hey, how's it going?" he asked. "Hi, I'm good. How about you? Where are you from?" "I'm from India." "Oh, so you're exploring another country all by yourself? That's pretty bold of you." I felt my cheeks warm up, not just because of his kind words or the new perspective he offered, but because he was undeniably attractive. Out of everyone there, he chose to talk to me. Maybe it was because I stood out as the foreigner in the room, which made me seem intriguing. We continued our conversation throughout the night, and as the party was winding down, he invited me to take a walk so he could show me his favorite spots in the city. Everything was happening so quickly I barely had time to process it. The mix of drinks, the excitement of being in a new place, and the unexpected connection made me agree without hesitation. We stepped out after midnight when the party ended. The night air was warm and the streets were quiet, illuminated by the soft glow of street lamps. I was in the company of someone charming and genuine. I've always been drawn to spontaneous gestures and friendly strangers, and that night, I was completely captivated. I did find myself thinking about my boyfriend. During that romantic walk with another guy, was I thinking about my boyfriend back home? In a way, yes. He wasn't completely out of my mind. You don't just forget someone you love because you meet someone new. But somehow, meeting this new guy felt almost separate from my life with my boyfriend. It was like there was a distance. My boyfriend seemed far away, yet always lingering in the background. I imagined that if he were here, he'd actually be happy for me and all the excitement I was experiencing. It's strange, but I wasn't feeling guilty in that moment. All I could feel was a sense of dreaminess. Walking down moonlit streets, even with his hand in mine and his kisses on my lips, I kissed him back. And that night felt beautiful. I felt secure enough in my relationship with my boyfriend to not feel guilty, to not feel like I had anything to hide. But the next morning, that's when the insecurities and regrets hit. Waking up after spending the night with someone else, reality came crashing down, as daylight often does. I kept asking myself, what have I done? How would my boyfriend react? Guilt set in, heavy and undeniable. Even then, I knew I needed to tell him. I couldn't keep this from him, because I didn't think our relationship would mean anything if we couldn't be honest with each other, especially about something like this. I spoke to a few friends later and asked for their advice, and some of them brushed it off, saying what happened, and questioning what the big deal was about sex. But for me, leaving out that little detail when talking to my boyfriend felt like lying. Eventually, I gave myself a simple test. I asked myself, if he had slept with someone else, would I prefer that he not tell me, or would I want him to share it, rather than me finding out from some random source? I realized it was the first option. I'd rather he tell me, because I'd feel more hurt if he kept it from me than if he had been with someone else. So, I finally told my boyfriend about what had happened. Once I was back home, I found the courage to confess. I realized there was never going to be a perfect moment. So one evening, I just blurted it all out. He was clearly upset when I told him, but because he loved me and I knew I had the courage to tell him, because of that he said it was okay. He told me that as long as I was okay, he would be okay. I remember thinking, wow, this guy must be one incredibly kind and generous person. I felt a huge sense of relief because I didn't want to lose him. I really didn't want us to break up. But then, my boyfriend left me with a crucial question. Was I okay with it? Pondering a question like that requires deep introspection and a real understanding of yourself, which often means spending a lot of time alone. What are we truly okay with? What makes us comfortable? Do we even know who we are? In the rush of daily life, It's easy to forget that these questions, though they may seem trivial, unimportant, or even cliche, are some of the most fundamental ones that keep us grounded. And suddenly, I realized that my boyfriend had given me the rare opportunity to ask myself these very questions and seek the answers. It dawned on me that it would be a wise idea to take full advantage of this opportunity, because it's not often that people are so generous with others as he had been with me. So I spent a lot of time reflecting on who I was, what I wanted in life, and whether sleeping with other people was something I truly desired. These thoughts led me to question what commitment to my boyfriend really meant. Did it simply mean sexual exclusivity or monogamy? Or could one sleep with multiple people and still remain committed to that one special person, or even to all of them, by caring for them and being there for them when they needed you? These were incredibly difficult questions to ask myself, and even harder to process, because I had grown up with a very specific view of relationships, where cheating was seen as the ultimate betrayal. But what if those rules weren't as absolute as they seemed? What if there was another way to approach the ideals of relationships that society has ingrained in us? My boyfriend and I are still together, and if anything, our relationship is stronger because of this experience. But now, I find myself more skeptical of the traditional rules around so-called cheating that are imposed on us. I still wrestle with the questions about what it truly means to be in a committed relationship. And I've come to believe that each person can define commitment in their own way, shaping what a committed relationship looks like based on their individual desires and values. It's such a personal thing, and trying to impose universal rules on it seems almost nonsensical. I haven't been with anyone else since that incident, and I'm not even sure if I want to, but I've become less fearful or dismissive of the idea than I once was.